Wanted to do a quick video of my stand I built for my Harbor Freight hacksaw. Seen a lot of them online, everybody making different setups. Well, here's mine. I was really concerned about making it more quick release. On this one here, just flip the levers. Once they're flipped, you can just lift it right on out, slide it right off the. What I did have to do though on the bottom is I had to add a little pad. This is the guide, lets it lock in. But the thickness of this pad is because there's a little ear down here on this lower part that I didn't want to have to trim it off. I wanted it so any saw would be able to fit in there. So I had to raise it up a little bit for that purpose. But just lifts in and out. Just locks right into place. I built a second one. My son-in-law really liked it. So I decided for a little Christmas present here. So I thought I'd get a quick picture before I packed it up. This one here, the plate for the table saw, I built a little mount so I can just put it right here on the back for storage. When not in use, the saw comes with this foot here, which you can leave on, set it into the stand, use it that way, or pull the table plate off and with 2 screws add the table plate. The main purpose that I tried on my design to be different than what was online was these 2 table plate screws are what support the saw into the mount on almost everything I saw online. All that load, everything was on those 2 tiny little screws. With the setup I tried to accomplish here was putting all the load sitting on the base back, locked into the upper handle here on top. That way the 2 normal points of load for the saw are secured in the stand. And so far it's worked pretty good. I've had this one over here going for, what, 7 months now? And couldn't be happier with it. The one thing I did do on mine is I bought one of these accessory foot controls. It works real good. I've got here, you can see it's tied into the back of my, I got it hooked up to the floor. But with the accessory foot control, that way you just Velcro the throttle control wide open, and then you have control of the saw with your foot. It doesn't have to sit there and continuously run. But I just thought I'd do a quick go over before I got this packed away. If anybody's interested in copying it, I can throw down a few dimensions here. We have 9 inches, 2 9-inch square pipe. The tubing I used itself is 1 3/4 square. And if I remember right, it was only 0.65. It was the thinnest wall that I could find. A little tricky to weld because it was a very thin wall. Legs are 15 inches long. On the back, I just used standard 1 3/4 angle iron. Whoops, no, pardon me, 1.5 inch angle iron. By 14.5 inches tall. And then a piece of the 1.5 inch across the top That was 5 3/4 inches. These little lockdown handles here, they're good for 500 pounds of clamping force and weight control. And I found these at Harbor Freight. They weren't that expensive, I think $4 or $5. They come in 2 different configurations. On this one here, I changed the configuration of the upper handle because on my first one I built, the handle in the closed position is hanging off the back. And it just added some distance on the back I really didn't need. With it here on the front, it just sticks up, saws above it, gives it a much flatter back. But they do sell both configurations at Harbor Freight. And that was about it on the materials. Some of this 5/16 inch rod, I think I ended up using just barely over a foot. Each one of these are 3 inches long. And then there's a piece down here that locks in the bottom. It is also 3 inches long. So 9 inches all total of the 5/16 solid rod. Pardon me, one more piece. Forgot about to lock in the back of the saw. This one is 2 1/4 inches long. What that does, as you can see on this one, the saw comes into the back and pressure is applied there against the clamping force here. So it locks this bottom in, as well as when it's drawn back, because of the wedge shape down here. It also locks it in with this pin coming in on the back side of the saw. And then the top carrying the download being wedged into here. But it makes for a very solid mounting, very secure. One thing I did do on both of them, another little supply from Harbor Freight, is some of their rubber diamond plate material. I have a adhesive back rubber diamond plate. I put that on the bottom, which kept them from creeping and sliding around. And that's just a little quick overview of my latest little project for my Harbor Freight tools. And I'll tell you, this bandsaw, it is so handy like this. I use the heck out of it.